Hello everybody and welcome back. In the previous lessons, we learned how to authenticate users in Django, how users register, log in, log out, reset their passwords, and how we define user roles using groups. Now that we know who a user is, the next question is, what exactly is the user allowed to do inside our application? This is where permissions come into play. In this lesson, we will learn how Django's permission systems work, how permissions are created automatically, how we check permissions in views and templates, and how we assign permissions using users and groups. We'll also walk through a practical example where only certain users are allowed to create secret notes while others can only view them. So let's get started. So in this lesson, let us focus on managing permissions, which is a core part of authorization in Django. Now, why permissions? Permissions help us control actions, not just access. They answer questions like, can this user create something? Can they edit it? Or can they delete it? Without permissions, every logged in user would be able to do everything, which is not safe or realistic. Now, what are permissions? Think of permissions as keys. If a user has a key, they can perform an action. If they don't, access is denied even if they are logged in. Now let's look at Django's built-in permission system. Django comes with a powerful built-in permission system. The best part is you don't have to define basic permissions manually. Whenever you create a model and run migrations, Django automatically creates 4 permissions for that model. This corresponds to adding, changing, deleting, and viewing instances of that model. Now, permissions follow a very clear naming format. It is always app_label.codename. For example, if your app is blog and your model is post, the permission to add post would be blog.add_post. Now let's see how to check for permissions in views. Django gives us 2 common ways to check permissions inside views. We can manually check permissions using the #perm method, or we can use Django's @permission required decorator. Let's look at the #perm method. Every authenticated user has a #perm method. This allows us to dynamically check permissions and handle access however we want inside our logic. Then we have this permission required decorator. This is a shortcut. It automatically checks permissions and prevents access if the user doesn't have the required permission. Now, permissions are not limited to views. Django also exposes a perms object in templates, which allows us to show or hide UI elements based on permissions. Now, how to assign permissions? Permissions can be assigned directly to users, but this quickly becomes difficult to manage. The recommended approach is to assign permission to groups and then assign users to those groups. And we can also manage permissions via the admin panel. Django's admin panel gives a clean interface to manage users, groups, and permissions without writing any extra code. Now let's head over to the CodeChef platform and take an example and see how managing permission works in Django. So here I am on the CodeChef platform and we have a worked out example called controlling secret node creation access. Now here in this application that we are creating, any logged in user can view secret nodes, and only users with specific permissions can create new secret nodes. So let's look at the file explorer here. We have the project called my project and an app called my secrets app. And then the models.py file of the app is open over here, and we have the forms.py file and the views.py file as well. Now let's take a look at this models.py file. You can see that in the models.py file, we are having a class called secret nodes, and this is a model in which we are creating 3 fields: title, content, and created by. The title is a character field, the content is a text field, and created by is a foreign key to the user model that we have. And we have also set the onDelete equal to models.cascade over here. That means if a user is deleted, then all the nodes that is created by that user will also be deleted. And here we are importing Django's user as well, because we are going to make use of the built-in user that is supported by Django, which we have already seen in the previous lessons. Okay, now let's look at the forms.py file. Now the forms.py file just gives us a simple form for creating the nodes, which has just the title and the content. So we have already studied how to create these forms in previous lessons. It is the same method as we have done there. Now let's look at the views.py file. Now in the views.py file, we see that we have to import all these important things, as we can see here, like the decorators, login required, permission required, and also we have to import logout, and we also import the models that we created, the forms that we created. So all the built-in things of Django that we want to use, and also the forms and models that we have created, all has to be imported here. Now we can see that we are using this decorator called login required. So here there is a function called secret node list. This is a view. So in order to access this secret node list, which is the view that enables viewing all the nodes. So in order to view that, a person has to be logged in. So for that we use this login required decorator here. So only a person who is logged in will be able to view all the nodes, and that we can see it is rendered to the secret node list.html template. Alright, again we have another view called create secret node. So in order to create the secret node, there should be a special permission assigned to that user, and also they must be logged in. So here we are using the login required decorator and also the permission required decorator, and only a person who is logged in and has that special permission will be able to create a secret node. Okay, and this part is for creating the secret node using the form that we have and for saving it. And then we have a view for the permission denied view. That means if a person who does not have permission tries to access a page, then we want to show a permission denied view. For that we have this, and this permission denied.html is a template used for that, and we also have a custom logout view. Now in order to set up the users, you can see that in this file explorer we have a folder called management, under which we have another folder called commands, and we have this setup roles.py file. Now what this does is, it is going to set up all the users and their permissions. So here you can see that we have created two users called creator user and viewer user. So that is what is being done here. So both of them have the password test password 123, because this is just for demonstration purpose. And then creator user is allowed to create secret nodes, and viewer user is allowed only to view the list of nodes that are there. He will not be allowed to create any secret nodes. So this you can also do it via the admin panel that we have already seen before in previous lessons, or you can achieve it using a Python script like we have done here in this example. Okay, let me just run this program and show you how it works. So remember the username creator user and viewer user, and the password is test password 123 for both of them. So let me click on the run button here. So as you can see, the project has loaded and it has created the users called viewer user and creator user, and they were added to the particular groups where they are allowed to perform certain actions. Let me open this in a new tab, and here you see this is the home page, and then let us log in using the creator users ID. So username is creator user and the password is test password 123. Now just notice the URL also here and how it changes. So when I click on the login button, you can see that we are logged in with the creator users account. So it says here all secret nodes, no secret nodes created yet. Now let me create a secret node. Since he is a creator user, he has the permission for creating nodes. So let me click on create, and when I click on create, notice the URL here. It is changing to create, right? This create is appended to the home URL. Now let me create a secret node. Let's just say hello, and let me just say hi there, save node. This is one node. So you can see the node is created here, hello by creator user. I can create another one, hello to, hi there again, and let me save it, and you can see hello to by creator user again is created over here. Okay, now let me log out. Now let me log in with the viewer user's account. So viewer user, password is again test password 123, and when I click on login, you can see here the viewer user has the option of viewing the notes. You can see what are the notes created by other users, but he does not have the option of creating any new notes. So that is how we can manage the permissions. Now something that we can try to do is we can append that create here in this URL and try to navigate to that creation page even with the viewer user's account, which we may think will help in creating notes or will give permission for the viewer user to create the note. So if I press enter, you can see here it says permission denied. You don't have permission to create secret notes. So even if you try to change the URL, Django understands that this user is added to a group where only viewing permission is given, and even if you change the URL like this, the permission will not be given to create the notes. Only the creator user who is added to the group where creation is allowed will be able to create the notes. So this is how we can manage permissions in Django, and you can see that this is a very super useful feature when you work with real life applications. In this lesson, we learned how Django's permission system work and how permissions help control user actions securely. We explored default model permissions, how to check permissions in views and templates, and why assigning permissions through groups is the recommended approach. We also built a real-world example where access to creating secret notes was restricted using permissions. Now make sure to try out the practice problem that is associated with this lesson on CodeChef. I will see you in the next one.